Okay guys, today we'll be doing some maintenance work on this Dodge Dakota. This is a very well kept up vehicle. It runs incredible, it drives great, and we're going to keep it that way by just doing some standard maintenance. I'll also show you guys some tips and recommendations throughout this video. Since I'll be changing the oil on this truck, I'll also show you guys me changing the oil on my Ford truck, my plow truck. I haven't changed the oil on it in probably about a year, and reason being I put less than probably 1,000 miles on it over this year. It's just strictly for plowing, so I'm just getting ready for the winter time. But the reason I'm showing because there's some correlation to me changing the oil in that truck and this truck. So I'll be using some additives in both vehicles, additives that I've used since I was 15 years old, or when I did my very first oil change in my first vehicle before I even had my license. So there's some history with these things, and I stay using them in all the vehicles that I do or that I recommend to customers because it does keep the engine running good and clean and running strong. Here are a few things we'll be using. The very first being the motor flush. Since I haven't changed the oil in my truck in about a year, this stuff does a wonderful job cleaning external parts in the engine. I highly recommend it to use it every other oil change. It's inexpensive and it does a wonderful job keeping the external parts of the engine clean. And like I said, I've been using that stuff since I was a teenager. Here I'm showing you guys how the oil look in my truck since I haven't changed it in a year. If it's dirty, I'll use the full quart of the Motor Medic here or the motor flush here. If it's not, I'll just use half a quart in this and half a quart in the Dakota. The Dakota oil is clean, but I'll still use it in there to make it crystal clean. And as you can see here, the oil looks pretty good. So we'll just use a half a quart of the motor flush here and a half a quart in the Dakota. So after you've poured the motor flush in, you want to start the vehicle and let it run for approximately 5 minutes. I do 8 minutes. I typically do this on cold start, but it doesn't matter. And once you let it run for the 5 minutes or 8 minutes, shut the vehicle down and then you can change the oil. The oil is going to come out watery and quick, which is good. That's what you want to see. And once you change the oil, as you see with the Dakota, it'll be crystal clear. Another habit that's good to form is whenever you're changing the oil in the vehicle, get the keys far away from you. Hang them up as you see me doing here, and that's with any vehicle I do. You want to avoid the risk of starting that engine accidentally without oil in it. I've heard that happen a few times. The very first thing we're going to do is add the motor flush to the engine. Then we're going to start it on cold start. Something I recommend doing, but it doesn't matter if it's warm or hot. Just cold start is what I prefer, what I've done forever. Before we start the vehicle, let me show you guys how the oil look. As you can see, it looks pretty good. While I was waiting the 8 minutes to shut the vehicle down, decided to check everything to top it off. The coolant was fine. The windshield washer fluid was extremely low, so that's what I'm doing here right now, filling that up. Then I'm going to shut the vehicle off and prepare for the oil change. Alright, got our oil pan there. Jack stand there. To confirm we're supported by the jack stand. We'll jack a little bit, but keep it some level even for more security and safety in the event if somehow, some strange reason, the jack stand fails, which is probably not. That's raised up to a height that'll not keep you from getting injured on the vehicle. And also, the reason I put it here opposed to here, have more room for this large oil pan. There's the drain plug. Before you remove the drain plug, remove the oil filler cap and slightly pull out the dipstick. You want to get some air circulating through there. Although the oil will be watery from the use of the motor flush, this will allow it to flow even more quickly. Make sure you have your catch pan in the correct spot. That oil is going to splash out of there. It's going to come out actually watery. Like I told you guys, that motor flush has done its job. It's going to clear all those contaminants and that sludge out of that engine. If you have a little time to waste, have some patience here. Allow it to drip all out. I actually went and cut the grass at this point, and when I came back, the drip came to a halt, and I reinstalled that drain plug. The oil is pretty much drained out, and now it's time to remove the oil filter. Sometimes you can remove it by hand if you got a good enough firm grip and some space. Here I'm going to try. It's kind of tight on there, so I'm going to show you guys the best filter wrench, and I have all of them, to use when removing oil filters, and this is my favorite one, and it will work on just about any size oil filter. Here's the STP oil filter number for this particular truck. It's a little larger as far as height than the oil filter we just removed. So we have a little bit better filtration. Also, a little bit more oil capacity, just a little bit, which also helps. Here's a tip or another method you can use to measure the diameter of both oil filters, the one you remove and the new one, to make sure it's the proper one that seats up there correctly, so you don't have to worry about it being too small as far as the diameter and oil spilling out the side of it. And I've seen cases like that as well. Even though the threads fit, the oil filter was too small in diameter, which caused a leak. So that's a way to ensure that you got the right one as far as the diameter. That's all you need, is a good firm hand tighten. It's gonna suck its way on there, trust me. Over time that suction will pull that thing even tighter than you got it, but just a good firm hand tighten on that oil filter. So here's the additive I've been using in my vehicles since I was 15 years old. My very first vehicle, I did an oil change with this Lucas oil stabilizer. This stuff is amazing. It says it's on the bottle itself. Oil alone is not enough. Just an amazing additive. If you want to prolong the life of your engine and just keep it running smooth, I highly recommend this stuff. They even sell it in synthetic brand. You can also use this with synthetic oils or just conventional oil, but yeah, they sell both. It's a little bit more expensive. Just overall amazing stuff. Here I'm showing the Lucas for the truck. I have it sitting in the sun to help the flow of it, because that stuff does come out pretty slow. This vehicle requires 5 quarts of oil, and since we've used 1 quart of Lucas, we'll use 5 quarts of conventional oil or synthetic. Doesn't matter what brand or what type of oil you use. When you're using that Lucas oil stabilizer, that stuff is incredible. It works with any oil, synthetic or conventional. Here's a tip for you guys. When you're pouring oil in a large spout like this, I have a funnel designated to this type of spout. I made a hole, as you can see, along the side of that funnel at the bottom. What this does is allow less air pockets to get trapped, and the fluid flows really quickly and smoothly, and which also saves time. Now that the oil is filled to capacity, we can install the oil fill cap and change the air filter out. All right, it's been about 30 minutes or so. I actually started letting the oil run out the truck. Before I want to check this, so let's wipe the stick out. We should get an accurate read now. All right, we should have crystal clear oil or transparent oil with maybe a little tint to it. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at it, it's perfectly filled. Yep. All right, guys, it's a wrap for this video. Got a couple more things I got to do to this truck. The videos will be on the channel, so be on the lookout for that. Once again, hope you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Terrence, and I'm out.